Hi everyone. Today on the Soul Sister Spotlight, we've got a community member that has been with us, I think, from the very beginning. This is Eliane. Lovely to have you here with us. Would you mind telling us a few words about yourself? Who are you?
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for having me. First, my name is Eliane. I'm based in Paraguay in South America, go Latin America, and I'm a marketer. I have 11 years of experience in the field, and I've been working full time in Web3 for the past 4 years, but it feels like a decade almost.
I like to say that 1 year in crypto is equal to 10 years in real life. So I'm glad to see that you have the same experience.
Yes, definitely. I've been part of so many projects in these past 4 years that it feels like honestly a decade.
When we initially talked about this call, you described yourself as fun employed and a founder in process. Tell us, what are you building?
So I wanted to take this time instead of just applying to jobs 24/7 and actually give myself the opportunity to try new things, take more risks. So a few weeks ago, I participated in the Web3 Pack Hackathon and then Coliseum Hackathon. And I built the first version of a project that's called Future You. And Future You is an app that basically uses accountability, on-chain rewards, and also AI to help people stay consistent with their goals. And the main idea is to reward delayed gratification while you're building these new habits and taking a more compassionate approach instead of punishing people for missing a day or two and breaking their consistency. It's in very early stages, so probably it's going to change a lot in the future, but I'm having a lot of fun with it, and people can check out the trailer. It's pinned on my LinkedIn profile, and it's also on my X profile. You can check it down there.
That's awesome. We're going to put a link in the description below. So, the problem that you're trying to solve is building habits by having accountability. And as far as I know, from talking to you and from seeing the very early prototype, is that you're doing that without the pressure of constant comparison with the others.
Yeah, I think that the most challenging part right now and nowadays with when you're building these habits is that you struggle a lot staying consistent when life gets in the way. We all have responsibilities and things that on the side make us happy that we would love to focus more on, but for some reasons we're not able to be like consistent or do that every single day during the same period of time. That's what I'm trying to address with Future You, being more compassionate instead of punishing you or being overwhelming when you miss a day or two. What happens with Duolingo? Duolingo is very funny, but sometimes it can get overwhelming.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to take a different approach, a more compassionate one, and also encourage people to, have these accountability bodies. And also when they do need to let their thoughts out there, they can also rely on these AI companion that will hear them and give them some advice.
I feel you. I am on the Duolingo train. I have a very long streak. And some days, to be honest, I just want to say, hey, Duolingo, just leave me alone. I'm not having the best of days. I just need a break. So can we skip today? And then Duolingo comes and threatens me with a knife.
Yeah.
And go do your Spanish lesson, girl. You talk a lot about empathy and compassion. What is something that you learned about yourself during that process?
Wow, so I learned a lot to be honest, but one of the things that I learned in the past hackathon is that I'm more adaptable than I thought at first. I usually have this plan and everything organized, but when you're participating in a hackathon, a lot of things can happen. A lot of things don't work when you need them to work. So I realized how important it is to be flexible and adaptable, and that taught me a lot, and it also showed me that it's okay to adapt to whatever is going on and you can still ship.
Oh, it's shipping. Amazing. I love that. I'm gonna take a little step back to your marketing career. You said that you have spent 11 years in marketing, and that is not a short amount of time. Walk us through the arc. When did Web2 start feeling too small?
So my whole journey started when I was 18 years old. I started managing social media for a local pub in Paraguay, in my country, and that's when I fell in love with marketing. I wanted to make sure I actually like the job itself before diving deeper into the whole career. And after joining that pub and experiencing what it is, wearing multiple hats and being part of the events, managing socials, and that hype that it gave me, the high energy that you need to have to be in marketing, that pushed me a lot to go on to discover more. And then I worked with multiple marketing agencies. I had my marketing agency ARC, and I even built my own marketing agency for entrepreneurs and small companies. And during the pandemic, I quit my job because I wanted to be a Forex trader. And I completely pivoted. And that's how I discovered crypto. And while I realized that I was not going to be a good trader, I noticed that there was this whole world that people call Web3, and where they actually valued the community. And I noticed the power that the community had in the projects building in Web3, and I wanted to be part of that. I gave myself, the chance to explore this from the community side first, and then I had the opportunity to start working on it full time, and I was like, yeah, I'm never going back to Web2.
Was there a specific moment where you thought, I can't go back, or was that more of a gradual process?
It was definitely like when I noticed that most of Web3 roles are remotely, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not going back to the office. I don't want that. I like the amount of freedom that you get in Web3. I didn't want to go back to being boxed in or working with companies that just want you to push content for the sake of it.
You spent a significant amount of your career in Web2 and AI before making the jump. Do you think there's a lie that Web2 marketing tells itself that Web3 marketing actually solves?
I would say that one of the biggest lies is that you need endless layers of approvals to get something right. Yeah. And Web3 shows you that it is possible to iterate fast and pivot based on what's going on and the sentiment, and being flexible, like how important it is to be flexible. That's something I think Web2 could learn from.
Kevin from Legal disapproves, but I agree with you.
Yeah, I know.
Earlier in our conversations, you've mentioned that you're interested in social psychology and consumer behavior. How does understanding why people make decisions give you an edge in crypto marketing and in Web3?
So first, I think that technology moves really fast, but human behavior doesn't change as quickly. That's why I think that understanding why people make these decisions is important, because once you understand the core emotion that drives them to make certain decisions, you're able to address the core issue from a different perspective, and also you're able to find out how they speak, and you're able to talk to them in the same language, and it's easier for people to understand you.
As marketers, we tend to focus a lot on different tools and different platforms that we use. And sometimes we tend to overlook the basic human psychology and human behavior one-on-one, what makes people tick. So what you're saying really resonates with me. Another core passion of yours is privacy. What does that actually look like in Web3?
So I think that we definitely have a lot of projects in Web3 that are working on it and that are doing a really good job. Like, for instance, NIM VPN, that's a project that I really like. I had the chance to talk to a few members of the team back when I was at Dev Connect in Buenos Aires. And our project that I really, really like how they're approaching privacy is Phoenix. I like how much they're advocating for privacy awareness and how they're working with multiple content creators. And I think that's something we need to do, because people think about privacy and they think, okay, I don't care about it. I have nothing to hide. But privacy goes beyond that. I think that we first need to be aware of what we're sharing and how that information is being used. And that's why I started to get interested in privacy. I'm still very early in my privacy journey, but I'm learning a lot, and I'm really happy to be in this position, because it also helps me as a marketer to understand where is the main issue. And I see it's definitely awareness itself.
Do you think that Web3 in general, the industry, do you think that we're delivering on that promise of privacy, or is it more of recreating Web2 surveillance with extra steps?
No, I think that in general, of course, not all the projects are delivering on it, but I really appreciate that the ones that are working towards it seem to be doing a very solid job so far. Of course, it's not going to be perfect just yet, but we're getting there. Whether we like it or not, all these massive hacks are waking people up and helping them realize how important it is to actually care about this situation and take action.
Let's take a step back and go back to the Soul Sisters community. What brought you to Soul Sisters? What brought you to our chat? And what made you stick around, more importantly?
I was watching Solana from the sidelines, looking at all the people on my timeline talking about Solana and what they were building. And I was like, it looks so fun. I want to be part of that. That was my honest thought. And then I saw Soul Sisters invite on X, and I was like, okay, this is my sign to join this community and be part of this and make my way into this ecosystem. And that's why I joined. That was my main reason. And why I'm sticking around is definitely the people, the vibes I get. Honestly, whenever we have our monthly calls, I'm like, okay, I'm canceling everything I had planned for that day to be there. And I just love the support and how friendly everyone is in the community and how everyone is cheering up for each other and like pushing everyone to be better, to do better, to learn. Like, it's not a place where you get judged because you're new or you've been there for, I don't know, 10 years, you know? And I really like that, and something I value a lot from Soul Sisters community.
Thank you for sharing that. We're really trying, to create an environment like that where people can thrive and where we can push each other to grow. You mentioned that you're making the jump to Solana, but you also have a lot of experience with Ethereum. Do you feel like the two ecosystems are different cultures?
I definitely do notice a difference. And I think that Ethereum feels more technical and more nerdy, and Solana feels more like energetic and high vibe and welcome everyone, you know? And I love that because it reminds me a lot to why I joined Web3 in the first place, you know, because I felt that it was a space where people were very welcoming, and I think that that nostalgic feeling is making me even more interested in Solana lately.
What role does community play in a founder's journey? Something that is nice to have, or is it a survival tool?
I would say it's definitely a survival tool. I think that community is everything because you learn and you're not able to put yourself in everyone's perspective, especially as a founder, because you build something that you like. And of course, to you, it's going to look perfect, but you need that perspective and that support and getting actual critical feedback for you to improve.
It's also something that I have been thinking about lately is that we think about the communities for the projects that we're building, but we often forget about our own communities as builders or founders or people that are struggling with the same types of issues. And I feel that we need a little bit more support like that in the ecosystem. What would you say to women in marketing who are curious about Web3, but they're maybe intimidated or they feel that it's too technical of a niche for them and they're not making the jump? What would you tell them?
I've been there first. That's what I would tell them. And then if they're curious, like, that's enough. Don't let that feeling of, okay, I'm not technical enough to get into this, stop you from exploring something that you find interesting. And I would recommend them to find a community that they like and get into, explore and learn and research first of all, and just do it, because we definitely need more non-technical people in Web3, and we need more women.
Let's move on to my favorite part of these interviews, which is the rapid fire. What was the best marketing campaign that you've seen in crypto? One that made you think, dang, I wish I came up with that.
So the one that's been in my head is definitely the Solana's ecosystem call video, the latest one with the Muppets. I really love how they took over the timeline. You know, in the minute I saw it, I was like, I want to be part of that too. You know, I want to do that.
There should be a collaboration between the Soul Brothers and Soul Sisters, the Soul Siblings.
Yes.
If you could fix one thing about how crypto projects market themselves, what would that be?
I would say that we need to start talking less about the what and more about the outcomes, you know, what we do for people and what we're really solving and how that ties to what people need.
All right, so talk benefits, not features, right?
Yes, exactly.
If Solana was a dish, what dish would that be?
Oh my God. The first one that comes to mind is a purple mochi because they're just so squishy.
So cute, right? I'm with you on this one. And last but not least, fast forward 1 year from now. What does the dream look like for Eliane? Where are you and what are you doing?
Oh my God. So a year from now, I see myself being part of a project that I genuinely care about and working with people I admire. And at the same time, building on the side, still focusing on the things that I like as well, like Future You and maybe things that I haven't discovered yet, but I want to spend more time doing instead of wondering what if.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being with us today, Eliane. We really loved having you here on this mini podcast interview, whatever you want to call it. For our viewers who want to connect with Eliane, we're going to leave the links below in the description. And if you're not part of the Soul Sisters community yet, well, no reason not to join. Come join us.
Definitely join us. Thank you so much, Manina. It was amazing.
Bye.
Bye bye.